June 27th, 2022, Select Board meeting. This meeting is being recorded.
Thank you and good evening. Welcome to the Select Board meeting for Monday, June 27, 2022. I'd like to begin. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First thing on the agenda is public comments. This is an opportunity for something that is not on the agenda, that somebody would like to make a statement. This is your opportunity. I'd ask if you want to speak, please stand, state for the record. We are in the auditorium, so I'd ask you to speak very loudly. If you can't speak very loudly, come closer to the owl, because we do have people on Zoom that are trying to listen in. Is there anyone that would like to make a public comment at this time? Yes, sir.
Kevin Bishop, 31 American Terrace, Southwood, Mass. I'm this evening representing the Southwood Civic Fund. I'm coming to ask the board for a letter of support for the Civic Fund for the future endeavor that we have. As you're aware, the Civic Fund is very involved with things over the years. We've done Thanksgiving dinners for people in the community. We've done toys for Christmas, toys for kids for Christmas, fundraising for fireworks and the 250th anniversary. We host a Christmas event, town hall, we host a farm animal parade, and we're spearheading the Veterans Memorial Center for the center of town. And many other community events I'm not going to get into, but hopefully you're aware of what we've been doing over the years. But also big supporters of the food pantry, which brings me here tonight to ask for a letter of support from you. As many of you are aware, the Christ Methodist Church closed their doors 2 weeks ago. That church has been in our community for 206 years. So the Civic Fund is very in negotiation with them right now for them to turn over all that property over to the Southwood Civic Fund. The biggest part of it would be so we can take the cramped Southwood food pantry from the house there and move it into the fellowship hall, which gives them a lot more room to be able to, supply the needs of the town of Southwood. That's a negotiation part they're in right now. Bigger part, we'd like to save a 206-year-old historical building for the community. We'd also like to open up some of the rooms within the parsonage or the church itself for community, for nonprofit organization that could provide some community services to the community. The letter speaks that the nonprofit they can turn it over to has to be an honorable nonprofit association. So we're hoping that you can find the effort that we've been doing over the years to be honorable, and that you would submit a letter to us in support of them donating this property to the Southwood Civic Fund. You can email us. I believe our email is on file, so you can email it to us to 258 Kenny Hill Road. I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Is there anyone else that would like to make a statement under public comment? Is there anyone on Zoom that would like to make a statement under public comment?
See no hands, Mr. Chairman.
All right. We have approximately 2 minutes before our first hearing, so let's try to knock off a couple of things. I'd like to acknowledge payables warrant number 2228B dated 6/14/22 in an amount of $252,473.76. I need a motion to accept the open session minutes dated 6/13/22.
So moved.
Second. All right, roll call vote. Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Perron, aye. Okay, I need a motion to accept the executive dated 6/13/22.
We have Robin.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, one for Mr. Steinhardt. You got one, Jason? Okay.
So moved.
Second. All right, roll call vote. Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Perron, aye. All right, passing back. Administrative assistant. I did neglect to announce who Chairman Russell S. Fox, Vice Chairman Doug Moglen, Clerk Jason Perron, all of the Select Board, Town of Southwick. Chief Administrative Officer Carl J. Steinhardt, Administrative Assistant Robin Solak. I apologize for not announcing that. All right. The first thing under that I have, accept a donation of $25 from to go to the ACO department from S. Deo. And I'm having a senior moment here. I can't remember. It's I should know. Oh, Sandra Deo.
Yeah, Sandra.
Okay. So if I could have a motion to accept that donation of $25.
So moved.
Seconded.
Roll call vote, Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Peron, aye.
Okay, so you could just initial that, pass it around. And then you could just give that right to Rob, please. All right, it is 6:05. Our first hearing is a hearing on a seasonal liquor license. So I need a motion to open the hearing.
We'll read the hearing notice first.
Well, the chart says I could do it either way, but I will read the hearing notice first. How's
Thanks.
that? Okay, Town of Southwick Select Board Liquor Licensing Authority. Notice is hereby given under Chapter 138 of Mass General Laws that App LLC, DBA, New England Disc Golf Center, has applied for a new seasonal all alcoholic beverages restaurant license to be exercised at 51 John Mason Road with the licensed premise to include disc golf course known as New England Disc Golf Center on the whole of said premises located at 0 Fred Jackson Road, 2,395,800 square feet, 41 Road, 2,486,400.8 square feet, and 51 John Mason Road, 134,600.4 square feet, consisting of 36 holes, one building, stores of alcoholic beverages, approximately 130 square feet, and seating for 120. A public hearing will be held to accomplish the issuance of the new license and to appoint Andrew Gardner as manager of the licensed premise. Time and date of the hearing, Monday, June 27th, 2022, at 6:05 p.m. in the auditorium, 454 Southwick floor, Southwick, Massachusetts. This meeting can also be accessed via Zoom. Select Board, Russell S. Fox, Chairman, Douglas A. Moglen, Vice Chairman, Jason N. Perone, Clerk. Now I'll accept the motion to open the hearing.
So moved.
Seconded.
All right, roll call vote, Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Peron, aye.
Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to hear from the applicant first. Then we're going to ask the board if they have any questions or comments. Then we're going to open it up to the public. So is the applicant here and would like to make a presentation? And I'd ask the applicant to come right down to the front so that we can hear everything you say. And please speak loudly.
Also, Mr. Chairman, it's Attorney Stephen Miller for the applicant, and I am on Zoom, as you can tell. In person, I expect that you will have Andrew Gardner, Freda Brown, and also on Zoom, you'll have another of the LLC managers, Michael McManus. And so I can't see if they're out there, but if I could make a brief opening statement and summary and then open it up to questions.
Absolutely.
So we represent, I'm with McDermott, Quilty and Miller. My name is Stephen Miller, representing Disc Tap LLC. Disc Tap has been in business since 2016. The membership has increased from 0 to currently 177 members that play at New England Disc Golf Center. The facility has 2 18-hole golf courses, a short course which takes approximately an hour and a half to play, and a long course which takes between 2 and 2.5 hours to play. The proposed manager is Andrew Gardner, who's been the CEO of Disc Golf since its inception. He is tip certified and has experience in the sale of alcoholic beverages. He will be on site. The proposed hours of operation are Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sunday from noon to 6 p.m. Michael McManus is also an LLC manager and a stockholder, a beneficial owner. He has extensive experience in the service of alcoholic beverages. He's a partner in a pub brewery in South Deerfield, Mass. This year, to give you an idea, the course is averaging between 200 and 250 rounds per week. Obviously open, weather permitting. The alcohol will be provided from a trailer with all seating outdoors at picnic tables. In addition to Mr. Gardner serving the alcoholic beverages, who is tips trained, there will also be the server that will monitor the area and will also be tips trained. There is no lighting around this area. The facility closes at dusk. There's no music, loudspeakers, etc. I think that gives you a brief overview, and Andrew Gardner is in front of you, and I think Ms. Brown also, and we're happy to answer any of your questions.
Would you like to make any other statement, Mr. Gardner?
I just want to make one correction. You said that Disc Tap LLC has been open for 6 years. That's the alcohol company that we're trying to open. NEDGC has been around for 6 years. We're just looking to serve our patrons. You know, we have a lot of customers coming in and asking us, or telling us that if we had alcohol, they would buy it. That's all we're really trying to do. We're just trying to serve our local customers.
Ms. Brown, would you like to make any statement at this
I
time?
think we would.
Okay. I'm going to open it up to the board for any questions at this time. Ms. Mogul, any questions?
Not at this time, sir.
Ms. Crum?
No, sir. No. Most of the questions I had were answered by the attorney.
Okay. Now I'm going to open it up to the public. The first thing on the sheet asks for anyone who would wish to speak in favor of the transfer or make any general comment. So I'd ask you to please stand, state your name. If you cannot talk loudly, I'd ask you to move forward so it can be picked up on the owl. Is there anyone that would like to make a statement in favor of this application at this time?
Jessica Thornton, 352 Granville Road. I have heard this application in my role as planning board member, so I've heard all the details about what the intent is and the purpose of this application. And I find it to be in good faith. I feel like it is an appropriate measure for the small business to be able to add a small service to the people who already patron it. And I have strong feeling that the owners have to make sure that there are no negatives that come from the liquor license sold for this evening. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to make? Yes, if you could please stand and state your name.
Wendy D'Onofrio, 141 Fred Jackson. I would like to say I am in favor of this.
Excuse me, Mr. D'Onofrio, can you come up a little bit? Because they're complaining on Zoom that they can't hear you.
Sorry.
That's all right. Sorry to interrupt. Thank you.
As someone who walks Fred Jackson, John Mason very often every day, I have to say that the people that I've seen going in and out of disc golf they're always very polite. They're very respectful. I've never had a problem with And I'm walking every single day up there. These guys are great. I've never seen an issue with speeding, which I can't say on my street. So to me, I don't see any issues with what's part of that.
Right, thank you very much. All right, is there anyone else that would like to make a statement in favor of this application? Is there anyone on Zoom, Ken, that would like to? Well, I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand. If you could please.
My name is Papa Young, and I'm 34, and I'd just like to say that I'm in favor of it. I've known her for a while, and I think she's a great business owner, and I have no problems at all. I've never seen anything run down this road that's disrespectful to the neighbors, and I'm for it. That's all I can say.
Okay. Again, anyone in this room that would like to make a comment in favor of this application? In the back of the room, I got 2 hands. I'm going to ask you to come forward, please, because they're having a tough time. The acoustics in this auditorium are not good.
Jackie Randy, 159 South Lemon Street. I would like to say I'm in favor of this. I think it would be a wonderful thing to have. It sounds very low key. It's closed early. I see absolutely no reason why this should not be right. I would like to say that.
Thank you. The other hand that I saw go up, if you could please stand and state your name and address.
My name is Aaron Bolak. I am a resident of Westfield, actually, but I am a member of the Fiscal Center for the last few years, and I just wanted to show my support. I think it would be a great addition to the course of the community. I come down to Southwood 3-4 days a week, come play. I bring my family. We have a great time. It's a great way to get outside and exercise and just make the experience enjoyable.
Okay, just for clarification, your address again?
70 Holyoke Road, Westfield.
Okay, thank you. All right. Again, anyone speaking in favor of this application in this room? I see another hand going up. Sir, your name.
How you doing? My name is Tim Walsh. I'm actually a resident of Granville, 195 Harlem Hall Road. But as you know, Granville is very tight knit with Southwood. My children go to school here. My son is actually starting a baseball club at the high school, which it's helping with. I know, as you enter town, Southwood is very proud of the fact that they're a recreational community. And I think what they're doing out there really shows that. And I just wanted to give my support.
All right, is there anyone else in this room? What? I see a couple more hands going up.
Get a microphone over.
And we're gonna get a microphone over here because people on Zoom are having a tough time. Again, please state your name and address first.
Walter Drennan, 100 Jackson Road. I know one of the biggest complaints having a disc golf course at the lake was that it was going to be noisy, there's going to be a lot of traffic. That hasn't materialized, and I don't anticipate this addition of a license limited time is going to make any difference either. I'm in favor of this proposal.
Okay. I saw one more hand go up. If you could pass it over to the next gentleman.
Hello, Harold Pete, known as Pete in around town. I'm a former resident of Ed Holcomb Road, just down the street, up the street from John Mason. Now I currently live at 16 Linfield Circle because I'm getting on in age and becoming a senior. And I've been at the disc golf course a few times. It's a sport that's very interesting, and I've noticed that a lot of younger folks are playing that game. It's an up-and-coming sport. When I say younger, I mean significantly younger than I. But I found all of the folks that are out there on the course to be very polite, very responsible, well-behaved. And there is a senior tournament that's there, going to be there. And once again, if you're drawing seniors to a facility like this, they may wish to have an alcoholic beverage, but at the same time, they're going to carefully act responsibly. I haven't heard of crowds of seniors rampaging all over the place. So I'm in support of this. Thank you.
Again, I'm going to ask, is there any other people in this room that want to speak in favor of this proposal? Anyone on Zoom?
I don't see any, sir.
Okay. I would like to enter into the record that we received 4 letters in support of this, one from a Rachel Sapelli, one from Eric Hebert, one from Harold and Sandra Heap, and one from Michael Sapelli. All right, now we're going to go to anyone that would like to speak against this proposal. And I did receive a paperwork just now from attorney from Doherty, Wallace, Pillsbury, and Murphy. So I'd allow you to go first, since you have a lot of documentation. If you could, I'm going to ask you to come up to this table so people can hear you. We're going to even bring the microphone just in case.
Thank you. I am here today speaking on behalf of Robert and Carol Baribeau, who live at 46 John Mason Road. They live directly across the street from the New England Disc Golf Center, and their driveway is pretty much across the street from the driveway of it.
And I'm going to interrupt you just for a second. If you could state your name and who you work for, things of that nature.
Of course. My name is Diana Day Foskett. I am an attorney with Doherty, Wallace, Pillsbury, and Murphy, and my clients are Robert and Carol Baribeau of 46 John Mason Road in Southwood. The Baribeaus respectfully request that the board deny the alcohol license. They do not have any problem with this business as a whole. Their objection is particularly to the sale and service of alcohol on these premises. Sale and consumption of alcohol would be disruptive to the neighborhood, and there are legal problems with the application. The first thing I'd like to talk about are some of the discretionary factors that the select board can consider. The law says that 4 of the factors that we focused on in our presentation are the appropriateness of the license for the particular location, the views of the inhabitants in the locality where the license is sought, traffic, and the type of operation that carries the license. Although I understand that this has been involved with discussions before the planning board, before the Board of Health, there are a lot of moving pieces to this. The obligation of the select board is to do its own independent review of all of these factors before making a decision. The first of the discretionary factors that I'd like to talk about is the location of the facility. And in particular on John Mason Road, this is rural, this is residential. And in section 2 in your packets, you'll see that we've got some maps and photographs that talk about the location of this facility. It's located right in the heart of the southwest quadrant of Southwick, bounded by Route 57 to the north, Route 202 to the east. And throughout the entirety of this quadrant, there are no commercial establishments, there are no restaurants, there are no bars. This is a very residential, sparse, and rural part of the entire town. Having an alcohol sales and service license would be a very big change to anything this neighborhood or even this whole part of the city has seen before. I think it'd be important to note also that even though the select board does not consider zoning per se, that this is within a residential zone. And it's not on the border of a residential zone. It is, again, fully in the heart of a very rural residential community. You know, we know that there are other clubs and restaurants that have similar zoning that have been allowed to have alcohol consumption licenses, but they are fairly nearby to industrial business or dense residential zoning. But that's not the situation for this. This property is unique. The next factor I'd like to talk about is at section 3 in your packets. It's the views of the inhabitants where it is located. I understand that this is a popular facility, and again, the Baribeaus have no issue with this business operating as it has been operating for the last 6 years. But under the law, it is the people in the neighborhood who the local licensing authority should be listening to. And they are the people that bear the most burden from any kind of licensure that happens. And you'll see at your packets, there's a petition that has been signed by 44 residents who live very nearby to this facility who are opposed. And we've attached 2 other letters that we've received in opposition to this. The next discretionary factor we'd like the board to consider relates to traffic. We believe that this license will have a detrimental impact on traffic and safety. There is one road that leads to this property. The pavement ends right near the entrance, meaning travelers from the south must drive on an unpaved, unlit road. There are also no sidewalks or bike paths or any safety margin. The supporting documentation is at tab 4 in your packet. We have photographs of, again, this is a roadway with poor visibility. And one of the key detriments to this neighborhood is the fact that the driveways don't have clear lines of sight. Because it's so densely planted with trees, the cars have to be almost in the roadway itself before they can tell if it's clear. And we do have a concern that drivers who might have varying levels of alcohol in their system, that this is a recipe for disaster. The other important issue I think bears discussing with relation to traffic involves the impact on this neighborhood, not just from customer traffic, but also the supplier traffic. There are no permanent buildings on site that the alcohol or the food service will be served from, which means that there'll be a need for frequent restocking of food, alcohol, drinking water, potable water, wash water, trash, sewage, and the frequent commercial truck traffic will increase noise and traffic in this neighborhood, and particularly on this unpaved road. The last discretionary factor we'd like you to think about involves the type of facility. Currently, the use of the property is really more of a private park where people enjoy outdoor activities in a natural setting. But it doesn't have the same type of amenities that we would normally expect to see from a property license for alcohol sales or consumption. The license itself seeks an unbounded area where patrons would drink not only in a picnic area, which is not segregated with a partition or anything that we can tell, but also roaming throughout the property. And that's an inherently less controlled area to monitor for safety or overconsumption concerns. And again, if there are any problems with overconsumption or monitoring, that extends out into the neighborhood, onto the roadways, which is really something of concern. The other issue that we have with respect to the temporary nature of these facilities is that there are no sanitation infrastructure that's there. There are no bathrooms with permanent plumbing, and the facility relies on portables with portable hand washing facilities. And, there have been some discussions back and forth with the health board, and I understand that that's part of the concern with there. But this board has its own obligation to consider whether the type of license is appropriate for this facility. I know that portable facilities are often used on one-day licenses for events or things that happen outdoor, but that's a different situation. For a one-day license or special license under Section 14, you'll have portable facilities that are freshly set up, that are freshly stocked and cleaned on the day of the event. This proposed license is for all day, all season long. And even with a weekly cleaning, you'll have a situation where food service employees, beverage service employees are going to be relying on portable facilities that would not be cleanable or handleable by employees the same way a regular restroom would be. So with that, we think that the discretionary factors, and in particular, the traffic concerns we have, the safety, and the views of the residents and the 44 people who signed against this, we hope would be considered. The last issue is that we don't believe that this facility is legally capable of being licensed under Section 12. That involves licenses for restaurants or taverns. This facility does not have a restaurant on site. Those are defined in the law as buildings where customers may be indoors, seated, monitored. The only exception for an outdoor facility under Section 12 is for a golf course. And although disc golf borrows many elements from golf, it is not a golf course. Golf is a different type of facility outdoors, different traditions, different demographics that they serve age-wise and things like that. So it seems like it is an arbitrary distinction, but that is in the law, and the law is the law, and disc golf does not qualify under Section 12. But even if we assume that it did, the lack of a building on site, whether it is a golf course or a patio or anything else, you have to have a licensed building where customers are able to sit and eat and be monitored to extend on under section 12. So with that, we thank you very much for your attention and your consideration. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions from the board at this time, since we have the council right here?
No, Council.
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to open it up to anyone that would like to speak in opposition of this petition. Again, I'd ask you to state your name and address. Is there anyone here at this time that would like to speak in opposition of this? I see a hand going up.
Hi, my name is Kim Hanna. I live at 2 John Mason Road. I live at the top of John Mason Road. I have dogs. I'm out in my yard quite frequently. My house is a little bit closer than some of the houses that are on John Mason Road. And I am out there pretty much every weekend. And cars come in groups of 5 to 10 at a time. And at times they speed. Most cars speed, some cars don't. And I'm not just saying this, it's real, I see it happening. Our road is not well maintained all the time. We have a lot of divots in the road, which if somebody was speeding and drinking alcohol, you might lose control. I've been near the edge of my lawn doing yard work, and cars are speeding and I'm waving them down to slow down. I've called the police a couple times to ask that they monitor the traffic and the speeding. I have no problem with the disc golf. I have no problem, but now we're adding alcohol to it. And that's a concern, especially we have a lot of children in our neighborhood. A lot of people who ride bikes. I know some people have their animals that they walk on a daily basis, so do I. I'm concerned. And then also, when I'm coming out of my driveway, I have a little bit of a hill that's in front of my driveway. So when cars are coming over that hill speeding, it comes pretty quickly. So I might have to stop quickly. And when they're coming up the road and speeding, I've even had my car parked on the grass to have people slow down, not in the grass, but like on the side of the road in front of our house to ensure people slow down, and they still don't slow down. Some people do, but most people don't. And I'm against it, not against the disc golf, but I'm against the alcohol serving. I have a big concern. We moved there without this. We moved there for the quiet. Sometimes there are times before 1:30, I've heard people speaking on a loudspeaker. It sounds like they're introducing things. It's usually a gentleman that I hear speaking on the loudspeaker. I've heard music on occasion. I know Freda has said that it's not coming from there. I'm not sure where it's coming, but it's coming from that area. So those are things that I've observed. Again, I'm not a complaining neighbor, but the alcohol is a concern with the driving, especially, and the roads are very narrow there. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak against this application at this time in this room? I see 2 hands going up. Person in the back first.
Jess Pelly, 15 John Mason Road. I'm in opposition of the alcohol permit. There definitely has been an increase in traffic since the beginning of it. It'd be silly to say that there wasn't. I think it's great what they're doing down there. I'm happy for them. I think adding alcohol into the mix is probably not the best idea. It is a very narrow road. You can't fit 2 cars side by side on some parts of it. And, you know, there's kids, there's dogs, walkers, bicyclists, the whole nine. So I don't think it's in keeping with the neighborhood. I think it's gonna add to the detriment of our road. It's just, I don't feel like it's a good spot, but I I do have a question about the alcohol/restaurant permit. What, if it is granted, what exactly, like, is it all alcohol, is it just beer? Is there time constraints? And the restaurant part of it, how does that fit in? What does that exactly mean? And I apologize if I didn't hear correctly. 120 seats, is that a pavilion? Is it a building being built? I guess, what does the future look like for New England Disc Golf? Is it just gonna stay a trailer, a food trailer, you know, the food being served out of that? Or are we looking more towards a permanent structure with a bigger venue being erected? I don't know, I'm just looking for a little more information on that.
Okay. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna take a few more comments first, and then I'm gonna give an opportunity for either Mr. Gardner or their attorney or Mrs. Brown to answer questions. How's that? Is that fair?
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else, like, right there in front?
Good evening, Inga Hotel in 45 Klein Road. This is my first time really hearing about this. This is really my first time hearing more details about what's being proposed. And my only comment that I want to make is I am respectful to people saying that the customers currently have been polite and generous, but that's without alcohol. And the other gentleman commented also that it's a young crowd that's coming here. I don't know if it's in the best interest of our community to be considering this license when we're looking at the younger crowd that right now are respectful and polite without alcohol. We all know alcohol impairs judgment. That's it.
Is there anyone else in this room that would like to speak in opposition to this application? Is there anyone on Zoom that would like to speak in opposition to this application?
I don't see anyone.
Okay, I'll now go back. Like I said, would you like to respond to some of the questions that were asked, or would you have your attorney respond?
I would like to respond, Mr. Chairman. As far as the appropriateness for this, it's been brought up a couple of times, but the planning board originally granted a special permit for this location with no alcohol. There was then a extensive process that occurred with the planning board regarding land use, traffic, noise, etc. And they amended the special permit to allow for alcohol. Hence, that's why we're in front of you now. So the issue of appropriateness, I think, has been looked at. Not that certainly the select board doesn't have their own responsibility. I'd just point out that in Southwick, there are several commercial recreational properties that are in residential 40R zones. The Edgewood Golf Course, the Ranch Golf Course, the American Legion, and the former Southwick Country Club. Also, when, I respect counsel and her firm, but when she says it's the law and that this doesn't qualify, I've had several licenses granted to trailers that qualify as a building. Also, I think it would be a question for the State Alcohol Commission. There's a advisory from April 3rd, 2009 concerning golf courses. There's no definition of golf courses in Chapter 138. There's no specific definition of golf courses in this advisory. I think it would be a question to be posed if this board was inclined to act favorably. It'd be a question for the ABCC to determine whether this qualifies under the statute for a golf course. The fact that so many people have spoken in favor, and even the people in opposition have no problem with the operation of the golf course, and to think that 5 hours a day from the 2 p.m. to 7 p.m., 3 days a week, and then some hours on 11 to 7 and I think noon to 6 is going to create an issue that people are going to flock to this location to have a beer or a glass of wine, because there's no plans to serve anything more than seltzer, wine, and beer, even though the license would allow it. This is an amenity for the people that are going to the location. And I know when they're talking about a young crowd, we're talking about young family people that, a husband that can run down and play 18 holes in an hour and a half. So this is an amenity to that. And also, as far as the petition, there was a lot of misinformation to the people in the neighborhood saying that there was going to be a bar at the premises and a lot of other things. So I would just suggest that based on the operation that the town knows that has not caused any problems, the addition on a very limited hours for alcoholic beverages would be an amenity similar to amenities that are granted at other golf courses in Southwick. And Drew, if you want to add anything, Freda, you want to add anything?
We have, he said they've got 40 people that don't like it. We've got 65 people that do like the idea. Not necessarily all Massachusetts, Southwood residents, but certainly there is a demand, not a demand, but a request for us to have the alcohol, so that they can enjoy a day outside. And if you're walking for 2 hours in the woods, you might just like something to drink when you come out.
Would you present that to the board, your petition, Freda?
Thank you. Okay. Did that answer your question?
Not really.
Okay. Why don't you rephrase the question and maybe the counselor can answer it?
Okay,
So right now, it's limited hours and limited days, but the alcohol permit itself is going to allow for a lot more than that. Am I understanding correctly?
So,
okay.
Yeah, I could, that the hours we're asking for us to come back and change those hours, we would have to come back and petition the board, the select board, to change those hours. And we will make the representation right now clearly that we have no intention to serve anything other than beer and wine and seltzer.
So your 5-10-year plan is to continue the way it is right now with the trailer serving food and just serving wine and beer and seltzer out of the trailer?
Yes, limited food, but there'll probably be a food truck there that's set for different times during the day. Drew's working on that right now.
Because that's one of the biggest concerns, I think, is what's going to happen in the future. Is this going to be a 200, 500 seat venue? Are we going to have bands every weekend? Is there going to be a restaurant back there? Like, I just think that needs to be taken into consideration when we're granting this permit. And I don't mean anything bad or disrespectful towards them, that they're going to, be like, haha, we got them, and, go run off and put this great big thing back there. But you have to be conscientious, and, we're just looking to the future, like everybody said, we moved out to the street for a quiet place to live. And, you can't guarantee that. You don't own everybody's property, and I'm not saying that, but that's one of the biggest concerns.
It just,
I'm going to let the council answer that question now.
122 seats, what are we talking about? Are we talking about the picnic tables, or are we building the pavilion?
Picnic
That's
table.
Okay. So we did get that answered, that it's picnic tables for the 120 seating. Okay, Counselor, did you want to sum up anything that was said?
I mean, anything else, as far as those other questions, anything else has to go before not only the select board, if there are no plans to do anything more than a disc golf course with limited service of alcohol. But anything else that was just mentioned has to go through numerous boards, including the select board, the planning board, et cetera, the building department, and there are no plans to do anything more than what we have right now. So, and it would require significant investment in to do that. So,
Counselor or Mr. Gardner or Mrs. Brown, can you sum up very succinctly hours of operation, you know, what your whole project entails? Just, you know, how many days a week, hours of operation, size of crowds, things like that. Just
so, Mr. Chair, the hours of operation would be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. Saturday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Sunday from noon to 6 p.m. As far as crowds, we are averaging this year, which is 200 to 250 rounds per week. So that's the alcohol would be 5 days a week, and the crowds are 202 to 250 rounds per week. So an average of 35 a day or so. I'm sorry, Drew?
The only addition I would add to that is we do occasionally hold tournaments to where we have upwards of 90 players in the event.
Okay.
That's a big reason why we want to have seating for that, because during lunch and after the event, we want to have the opportunity for people to sit around and debrief or relax or whatever they want to do after a tournament.
And I imagine the tournaments are normally done on Saturday or Sunday?
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So occasionally we do have tournaments that will bring upwards of 90 players to the course in one day. Our 120, our ability to see 120 is really reflective of that.
Thank you. All right. Questions, Mr. Mogan, or comments?
I just wanted, the only comment I have so far is there's more to digest here, but in answer to Ms. Pelly's question, you know, when the hours are in the application, so those would be binding on the applicant. If they wanted to change those hours, we would be back here again for another hearing in front of this board and the public with testimony and everything else for and against. And then I've got a couple of questions for our attorney regarding if we're allowed, this is an all premise or a seasonal all alcohol license. I'm wondering if under the seasonal, if we're permitted to limit what is the types of alcohol that could be served there, just as a question. If it's their intention, why wouldn't we take them up on the offer to limit the alcohol proposed to be served there as a consideration in this process? That's the only questions I have at the moment.
Yeah. And that would also go for entertainment also.
Good point. There's no entertainment being proposed at this
Right.
location. So there's no music, bands, pinball machines, amusement devices, you name it, all the things that normally come with a license and application are separate to it, that we are the licensing authority for. There's none of those being requested here.
That's correct.
Mr. Crum.
Okay, I do have a couple of questions. Mr. Gardner, I have not been up to your facility yet. The portable toilets and the built-in sinks, what types are those? Are those like the porta potties with the little?
Well, yeah, right now we just have a standard porta potty, handicap accessible. We do not have hand wash stations yet.
Okay, that was going to be one of my concerns. Two, who's going to be monitoring the people that are drinking?
Well, I'm the manager on site, and then any staff would be tip serve or serve safe certified or tip certified.
You answered my serve safe question. I know some of the things that the folks have brought up. My concern with the alcohol is it was brought up, alcohol changes people. I know this. personally from my position as a police officer. One of the things that we have a big problem with alcohol establishments is, I know for a fact you're gonna have people run into the woods. You have these folks here that live in the residential area that are probably gonna be observing this type of stuff. You're not gonna be able to control that. So, that's a concern of mine. You did answer my question about the additional dates, your hours. Again, I'm all for your disc golf situation, and I might even be more inclined to look at something on a similar to like the motocross type thing. But I do have concerns right now.
Okay, to answer that question, under the golf course law, it states that we can only serve 2 drinks per person at a time. So we can regulate that as they, if they come back after their 2 and they want to buy more, our servers can cut them off.
How many servers are you gonna have?
It would be 1 on staff at a time.
One on
And
staff
then
at a time.
I'd be around the property and close by if necessary.
You'd have to mark them somehow, wristbands, stamps. And right now, the questions that were brought up, a couple others were answered. Is there any plan to do permanent structures at any point down the road?
No solid plan. We would like to eventually, in time, if the funds permit, we would like to build a clubhouse of sorts. Nothing on plan right now.
Yeah, we need, David, you got the microphone, just so, again, I apologize, the acoustics in this room are terrible. If you could repeat, basically, they couldn't hear your last thing for us.
I said that right now, there's no concrete plans to build any structures. If our business is successful in capital, we have the capital required, the funding from a bank in the future. I don't know how long that road this would be. We would like to build a permanent structure out there of some sort.
So I know some of the biggest concerns of the folks on John Mason Road. If down the road you become significantly successful or enough where you can do stuff like this, would there be a way to change your access point?
I don't think we have.
What's that?
So what, they mentioned going down John Mason Road, but most of the people are coming up Fred Jackson. And that road is paved from Fred Jackson past. That road is paved from Fred Jackson Road to just past my house. So people coming up that way and going down that way, which they would prefer to do now that the potholes are filled, to use that road, Fred Jackson, rather than come down John Mason. It is a shorter distance on the road if you're coming from Fred Jackson than if you're coming from John Mason, from Claus Anderson. So I don't see that should be a huge problem. The planning board went over that issue. The neighbors up the street don't want to have their road paved. They had been offered to have that road paved in 2007, and they all said, "Oh, we do not want it paved." And so the selectmen at that time said, "Okay, we're not going to pave your road." But that should not be a reason why my business can't have people drive up on the road.
We also don't have access to another road point from the
Okay,
property.
that answers my question.
All right. You all set?
I'm all set.
Okay, you all set?
For now, yes.
Okay. Then I'm gonna ask for a motion to close the hearing.
I'd make a motion to continue the hearing. I think we have to analyze this, and we may have to get other input based on information presented to us during the hearing that we haven't had a chance to look at.
Okay,
So my predisposition is to continue the hearing to a date certain.
okay,
I will second that.
okay.
You need a date and time.
All right, then, why don't, because it's summertime vacation, things like that, why don't we give it a couple more weeks? You know, really quickly. Okay. We're into July, we don't meet, 11th. The 25th. 25th? Okay, so a motion to continue this hearing till the 25th at 6:30 PM. Do we have any other things scheduled for the 25th at 6:30 PM? Okay, so motion is made. I need a second. We're gonna do a roll call vote. Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, Jason Perron, aye.
All right, we thank everybody, and we apologize for the next hearing for running a little late, but we're gonna move right into the next hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. So if anyone's leaving, I'd ask that you could do it as quietly as possible. All right, our next public hearing is regarding Comcast cable TV contract renewal with cable TV ad hoc, town council and Comcast. I'd ask those members to come forward and take a seat on the side. On the side. All right, I'm going to begin by reading the legal notice. Town of Southwood, legal ad, June 13, 2022, and June 20th, 2022. Town of Southwick is in receipt of a proposal by Comcast of Massachusetts 2, Inc., a subsidiary of Comcast Corporation, to renew the cable television license for the town of Southwick, which license is scheduled to expire in September 2022. The town's Cable Advisory Commission is reviewing the contents of the proposal, and the proposal is available for public inspection in the Select Board's office and Town Clerk's office. A public hearing is scheduled for Monday, June 27th, 2022, at approximately 6:15 PM in the auditorium at Southwick Town Hall, 454 College Highway, regarding a review of Comcast's past service to the town and its proposal for license renewal. Members of the community are invited to attend or submit written testimony in advance of the hearing date. Russell S. Fox, Chairman, Douglas Mogul, Vice Chairman, Jason Perron, Clerk, Select Board, and the Cable Licensing Authority. All right. So I need a motion to open the hearing.
Doug Mogul, so moved.
I will second.
Roll call vote. Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Perron, aye.
Okay, I'd like to, before we begin, read the following into the record. Good evening. My name is Russell S. Fox. I'm a member of this town select board. Pursuant to state law, the town select board is the statutory cable television issuing authority for the town of Southwood. I will be chairing this evening's public hearing. Additionally, I am joined by the other members of the town select board and members of the town's cable advisory committee. The hearing is being conducted pursuant to the requirements of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 166A, and regulations of Massachusetts Cable Television Division at 207 CMR 4.00. Notice of this evening's hearing was published in the Westfield Evening News on June 13, 2022, and June 20th, 2022. Those notices will be made part of today's hearing record. Zoom records are also being made of this hearing. We are here today to seek public comment relative to the cable television renewal license for the town of Southwood. Comcast of Massachusetts 2, Inc., hereafter referred to as Comcast, is the incumbent provider for the town's existing non-exclusive cable television franchise. The current non-exclusive cable television license is scheduled to expire in September 2022. Please note that this meeting is limited only to cable television, is not meant to address internet or phone services provided by Comcast or an affiliate thereof. In accordance with Mass CMR 207 2.00, once the proposal has been received by the town, it will be made available for public inspection during regular business hours at Southwick Town Hall. In reviewing a license for renewal, federal and state impose limitation on the facts the issuing authority shall consider in whether to award a renewal cable television license, including 1, the licensee's management and technical expertise, 2, financial capabilities, and 3, legal ability to operate a cable system. Specifically, the issuing authority shall consider whether the cable operator has substantially complied with the material terms of the existing franchise with applicable law, quality of cable operator service, including signal quality in response to consumer complaints, and whether the cable operator's proposal for renewal is reasonable in light of the town's cable television needs and interests, and in light of the respective costs. Speakers should limit public comments to matters such as these. Factors such as rates charged by the cable operator and programming, such as specific cable channel offerings and cable television service packages, while important and essential to each cable television customer satisfaction with its choice in video provider, may generally not be permitted by state and federal law as a basis for consideration by the issuing authority of whether to grant a renewable cable television license. If you have testimony or a comment to make today, please give your name and street address and speak clearly so there can be an accurate record of everything that you say. I will now ask any representative from Comcast present at this hearing to introduce his or herself and make a brief introductory statement if he or she wishes to do so. And then we will open the hearing to public comment. Counselor, have I met the requirements with this announcement? Thank you. Very well done, Counselor. A little water. Comcast representative.
Good evening, my name's Eileen Leahy, and I'm a senior manager of government relations for Comcast. My office is in Westfield, Mass. at 1110 East Mountain Road in Westfield. I've been with Comcast for over 7 years, and I was part of the last renewal with the town. We look forward to continuing our renewals with the town and continuing the strong relationship we've had with them. Thank you.
Counselor, before I open it up, would you like to make any statement?
I think we're okay from my perspective. We've met with the committee and we discussed things with Comcast. We had an open meeting just to see if there's any things from the general public that we need to take into consideration before we accept the franchise agreement as well.
Okay. Any comments from the board? Ms. Mogul at this time?
No, sir.
Ms. Crone?
None.
Okay, I'm now going to open it up to the floor. Is there anyone that would like to make a comment concerning this proposal? If you'd please stand and state your name and address. And you better use the microphone, please.
Michael McMahon, 31 Lane. How long is the contract?
5 years.
Oh, okay. And just speaking in general, over the last 10 or 15 years, Comcast has moved the office from Westfield. You now have to go to Holyoke. The service periodically disappears, and you call the toll-free number, it's answered in God knows what part of the world. And the bottom line is, unplug this, unplug that, unplug this, which you've already done before you call Comcast. And it eventually gets fixed up. A few months ago, a guy showed up at our door at 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning. I'm here to fix your cable. I said, nobody from Comcast told me you were coming. I had problems on Thursday and Friday, and they couldn't do squat. So you end up taking your equipment over to the English side of Holyoke, and they just replace it. They don't ask any questions. They scan the barcode and just give you a different piece of equipment. Not new, rehabbed or taken out of the bottom of the box or whatever, but that's life with Comcast.
Is there anyone else that would like to make a comment? Is there anyone on Zoom that would like to make a comment?
I don't see a hand, sir.
Counselor, then I'm going to be accepting a motion to close the hearing. Okay, then I'll accept the motion to close the hearing.
Then I will make a motion to close the hearing.
I'll second.
Roll call vote, Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Peron, aye.
I thank you very much. And now the ad hoc committee can review the proposal and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we are back to the agenda, and I apologize to the planning board for making you wait. We're supposed to get to you at 6:30, so.
Obligatory that the planning board never runs late joke insert here.
So, if the planning board would please come forward.
Mike was clean shaven when he first came.
When you got here.
All right, the purpose of this is to consider the reappointment of an associate member of the planning board. It's a joint appointment by the select board and the planning board. Do we have a nominee?
We do. Our current associate member, Jessica Thornton, is our sole applicant and the preferred nominee for the board.
Okay.
Not just because she's the only one. She does a great job.
Right.
Would the applicant like to make any statement?
I thank you for the time to allow me to serve, and I look forward to continue to do so, no matter how crazy it may be.
All right, then I will accept a motion to appoint. A vote, a vote.
Both boards.
Right. Well, do we have a nomination?
Yeah.
Oh, would somebody like to make a nomination?
I'll make a nomination that Jessica Thornton be appointed as an associate member of the planning board.
And that was done by Mike Doherty, chairman of the planning board. All right, is there a second to that nomination? A second by Mr. Spina from the planning
You
board.
just said David and you've been good.
Okay. All right, it is a roll call vote. I will allow the planning board to go first, starting with Mr. Spina.
Dave Spina, aye. David Sutton, aye.
Michael Doherty, aye.
Marcus Phelps, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Russell Fox, aye.
Jason Peron, aye.
Congratulations. Do you know what you're getting into again?
Oh, yeah.
If anybody knows, it's I.
Thank you very much. Sorry you had to wait. All right, next thing I have on here is the review and make reappointments or appointments of emergency management departments, SEMA, RACIS, and CERT, as shown on the attached list to the agenda. We held off on this because we wanted clarification, and these are really not committees, but these are special. What's the proper terminology, Carl? Special.
They're agencies.
Agencies. Okay. So with that, would someone like to make a motion?
For which one, sir?
For all of them. For community emergency response team, for radio amateur civil emergency service, for Southwood Emergency Management Agency. And these are all year, 1 year appointments.
Does that include the LEPC?
No.
No.
Thank you. Just checking because I got a correction for that. I'll make that motion.
I will second.
Okay, roll call vote. Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Peron, aye.
Okay, we're done with that. We're gaining ground now, folks. We're gaining ground. We're getting ready to turn the page. Okay, we did the payables, we did the donations, so let's see, let's go into the action folder.
Can I, while you're moving on, while we have the appointment list out here,
Yeah,
can we? No, these are the appointments coming forward. Never mind. When are we gonna do that one? With the
July
others?
11th.
July 11th. All right, thank you.
all right. Okay, the next thing I have is from Chief Robert Landis. It's a request to accept a grant of an underwater remote operated vehicle. It is from Homeland Security Advisory Council. The award is approximately $65,589. So if someone would like to make that motion.
I would gladly make that motion with our thanks.
I will second.
All right, roll call vote. Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Perron, aye.
Okay, the next, to discuss the energy-related expenses and options to offset. I'm sure everybody is aware, and I'm gonna ask our Chief Administrative Officer to go into more detail, but
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Chairman, obviously, we've had issues that have started to materialize with energy costs more so than when the budget was being planned, so some of the options that I've conferred with the staff as well as the acting chairperson of the Finance Committee would be, a minor freeze in some of the other accounts, ARPA funds, free cash, and a FinCom reserve in the third quarter. So we're gonna take all of those 4 tools in the toolbox, and that's what we're gonna be putting in place to address this issue, okay?
okay, just so people are aware, the public's aware, the agencies that we work with are talking about the possibility of our energy needs doubling in price, doubling. So this is a very serious thing. Obviously, during the budget session, we never anticipated something that serious. So we definitely have to use all the tools in the toolbox. Agreement, everybody? Yes. Okay. Moving on, the next thing is to authorize the chairman to sign an MOA with the Fire Local 4919 IAFF Unit for Fire Protection Officer, FPO, board approval of FPO job description. And that is something that we
That's all been worked out with the bargaining.
worked out with bargaining unit and some of the items that were discussed during executive session. So I need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I will second the motion.
Okay. Roll call vote. Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Perron, aye.
Let me sign it.
2 places, Russ,
2 places.
the other tab. That's it.
Jason, if you can pass that back down.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Sir?
Okay, next thing, we have been very lucky. The first one up is from Chief Robert Landis, asking us to vote and accept a very generous donation of $15,000 from the Christ United Methodist Church, which unfortunately is closing, and this would go to the police gift account to address shortfalls that they see and items they might need that we couldn't approve in their budget. So a motion to approve that $15,000.
Doug Mogul will make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, roll call vote. Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Perron, aye.
Okay, the next is from Chief of Fire Department, Russ Anderson. Again, a very generous donation from the Christ Church United Methodist for the sum of $15,000, which would be deposited in the fire department gift account. Need a motion?
Doug Mogul will make that motion.
I will second the motion.
Roll call vote. Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Perron, aye.
Okay. Next is from the Southwick Senior Center. very generous donation again from Church, Christ Church United Methodist of Southwood of $5,000.
Doug Mogul will make that motion.
Jason Peron, second.
Okay, at this time, it's not on the agenda, but we did have a donation to the Southwick Senior Center, and there was a presentation, and they are implementing and have it available for use since the beach opened on the 27th?
Yeah, last week.
Last week? No, last week it opened up.
Right.
It was a donation from the Kev's Foundation for an AED. You know, they have given us several, and this is welcome news. This saves lives. And Ms. Mogul and I were down there for the presentation line with Lieutenant Landis and Officer Malone and our director of
Lieutenant Banish.
Lieutenant Banish. What did I say?
Landis. He's the chief.
Oh, Detective Lieutenant Banish. And now I'm Cindy Sullivan, our director of,
Park and Rec and Council on Aging.
not the other thing, right?
No, we don't call it that.
No, okay. All right, was there for the presentation. So I need a motion to accept that donation of that AED.
Doug Mogul will gladly make that motion with our thanks.
Jason Peron will second.
Roll call vote, Russ Fox, aye?
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Peron, aye.
Okay,
And before we move on from the donations, I mean, from these three donations from the United Methodist Church are outsized and very much appreciated. I very much appreciate the fact that the church gave such deep thought to supporting the fire department, the police department, the Council on Aging, and are entertaining and have the food pantry's interests at heart as they were forced to kind of close a 200-year-old institution. So hopefully that facility will go on with a high purpose to the community, supporting the food pantry and other activities of the Civic Fund. But just with our thanks to that group for all they've done for our town, 200+ years of service to the town of Southwood. Thank you.
thank you, Ms. Mogul. And ditto.
I'll follow your lead.
Okay, another ditto. Randy, come on forward. And I know you speak loudly, so I don't think we need the microphone. As I read this over, you know, I looked at the fuel cost, and then I looked at every single item being increased by 12, 10%, 15%. So your job has not gotten any easier, but go ahead, make your recommendations.
Yeah, so just to back up one step, so we open bids for, we have a host of annual contracts we go out for every year. We opened eight separate contracts a week ago. What you have in front of you was a summary of those bids and the recommendation for the low bidder. I will say that, as you noted, Russ, prices went up over last year, not surprisingly, due to fuel inflation. Seemed like every category price went up 12, 15, if not 20% over last year's prices. So it just means, you know, we have less to do what we need to do this year, but we will do the best we can. All the contractors that we are awarding that were the low bidder are the same contractor as last year. So nobody new is on the list. So that said, I can go down one by one if that's what you want me to do.
I think everybody's had a chance to read it. These are the same people we've been doing business with years. If you want to just list the names, and we
Sure.
could do it all in one motion. Is that agreeable?
It's fine with me.
I agree.
Okay.
Okay, so borrow materials, low bidder was John S. Lane and Sons. Crack ceiling was Indus. Guardrails is Guardrail Solutions. The heavy equipment rentals is Crestview Construction. Line striping is Atlantic Pavement Markings. Pavement materials is Andrick Materials for the various materials that they provide. Emergency tree maintenance is Northern Tree Service. And vehicle and equipment repairs is Kane's Mechanic. And that's actually for the large equipment, and the pickup truck category is for Sarah Ford, which is
Okay.
also the same as last year.
I would accept a motion. And just to be clear for those following at home, that this was published and advertised as open for bids. So even though the cast of characters is the same, the process was very public and open for
Sealed bids.
sealed bids. So I will make that motion. Second?
I will second.
Okay, it's a roll call vote. Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Peron, aye.
All right, Randy, don't go anywhere. We're gonna take this out of order. We tabled this until tonight, and that's the sewer rate increase. And, you know, I didn't say not an increase because we definitely have to have an increase. Everybody has gone up, Westfield went up, so I'm gonna kind of put a little pressure on you, Randy, and to help this board with a recommendation. I know you gave us a lot of options, but what would you feel comfortable with?
Well, I think it comes down, so as I noted in the letter, I know I try not to send you 4-page letters, but I think in this case, I wanted to give you all the background, especially Jason being new, make sure he gets all the background behind it. So obviously our expenses are going up, right? We were aware of that, and our revenue sources are going down. The really only revenue source that we have control over is our user fees. And in the past, the town has provided it's called a town subsidy, which pays for the IMA payment to Westfield. That payment will go away in 2024, which is a good thing. But all these other increases coming on the books more than offset that decrease in payment. So obviously we need to get a balanced budget, right? We need to make sure our revenue matches our expenses. So I guess the question I would have for the board is, is there an opportunity to have or to continue the town subsidy? And if there isn't, I think the revenue, the rate increase has to be the very bottom number on page 3. It should be the highest rate increase. There's no other way around it, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, you know, my thoughts on this is, you know, health issues are a town-wide issue. Even though some people aren't on the sewer, I'm not on the sewer, but I still feel it's my obligation as a member of this community to address health issues, just like the transfer station or police or fire or school. So I think that the town of Southwood needs to step up to the plate to make sure that we address health issues. That'd be my thought.
I agree.
You know, so, and to ask people to take 115% hit increase, I think is the wrong thing to do. You know, it doesn't make sense to me. It's just would be a financial hardship for many people, and I don't agree with that.
I agree with that.
So our options that you've laid out are 10% to 115%. But if you were to make a recommendation, again, I'm trying to pigeonhole you, Randy, what would you feel as DPW director would be a good recommendation?
So if you're trying to make a comparison to say other communities, Westfield rates are going up 60%.
Right.
What was that number again?
60.
60.
60%. That's probably where we need to be if you wanted to go on that.
Well, part of our, I mean, a big part of
And
our
the balance would be,
their rate is going up. So we have to incorporate the IMA expense of their rate increase and handle what Randy's talking about is our in-town costs. Those are the two main things.
Carl, would you like to make a recommendation?
Well, I mean, I looked at it and obviously I think 10, you know, we should be probably somewhere between the 10 to 20%. But the board needs to figure out where we want to end up with that, because really you're gonna hold, you want to make sure you're not increasing the subsidy that Randy's talking about, but and hold that steady, but at the same time, you also want to make sure that you have to cover your both increased out of town expenses, which are an obligation under the IMA, because we send the flow to Westfield to be treated at their discharge plant, treatment plant, and then we have to handle our in-town costs. And Randy, you've got what, 6, 7 pump stations, 17 miles of lines,
Yeah,
268 grinder pumps, something like that, 280.
yeah, about that.
So you have to cover that plus the staff and the equipment. So.
And we
that's
just
how
saw
you get
what the
there.
bid was to redo the Prifty Park sub pumping station was over
It was
$500,000.
double, what was double what we.
We rejected that.
And we rejected that.
So that's how you get to these kind of numbers. I mean, you talk about a percentage, and it's like, you have to have the other perspective, the dollar amount. We have to accommodate for our obligations under the IMA.
Okay, we're not going anywhere until we come up with a number.
I have a question. Can we, if we're gonna set this rate, can we do like we've done in the past where we,
The 2 or 3 year rate.
yeah, well, if it needs to go up 10% a year for 3 years, so your net is gonna be 30% versus we go at it and we say, okay, it's gonna go up 25% this year, and we're gonna try to hold the rate for a few years. With the debt service falling off, some of the debt service falling off and the IMA payment falling, some of that falling off. Now, the flow fees are gonna go up a lot, but I think we can actually maintain.
But within that second and third year approach, Randy has to make sure that we're also covering the IMA imposed costs for year 2 and 3 at the same time.
And we'll have some clarity around what that new IMA looks like.
Well, he already has what the rates are for Westfield for the next couple of years. So.
Well, it's set through FY '24, right? But then beyond that, beyond October 2024, that has to be negotiated.
Right.
So in the past, we have done that. We've done a 3-year commitment.
And we may, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but just to, to be clear, depending on what the new IMA looks like, we may not be able to hold our commitment and say, look, we're gonna do 15, 15, and 15, or 10, 10, 10. That third year might be the start of the next set of rate increases too, right?
Correct.
And I'm not gonna lie to people and say, okay, we're gonna do 10, 10, and 10, and we'll be good. We have a new IMA that's gonna come for fiscal year 25, that's gonna drive the rate. You can't help it.
So what do you think, 2-year rate then? 2-year?
Our rates are fixed. It's through the end of our IMA, which is through October 2024.
Right. Which is the.
Or 20, yeah.
Right, and that's the.
I'm sorry,
First, that's
23.
no, I think it's 24, it's the first quarter of fiscal year 25. So we're looking at least, we have to make a 2-year decision.
Yeah.
Anything over that, we have to deal with the IMA because of the level of uncertainty.
Right.
Yeah, this year, the budget is balanced for this upcoming fiscal year 23.
Yeah.
We did that, but it's looking to FY '24 is where we see the big gap.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna throw out a 15 and a 15.
About where I was gonna land. I was gonna do a 20 and a 15, but I think you can do it with 15 and 15.
I was gonna be the hard one, I was gonna be 2020.
We're splitting the difference on both.
Yeah, you're in the middle, sir.
We're in the middle?
Yeah.
All right, need a motion.
Doug Mogul gonna make the motion at 15%, 15%, correct?
Correct.
That's for Jason 23 and Peron 22.
Second. Yep.
All right.
So
We'll
just
call-
I'm sorry, just to clarify that 15% will be effect October 1st for the next billing cycle. And then the following October, another.
It's offset from the fiscal year, actually, right? So correct.
Okay.
Okay, we all understand, all in agreement? Okay, roll call vote. Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Peron, aye.
Randy, thank you for such a detailed thing and helping us all understand this very complex thing. And we will be working with our sister community, Westfield. I know that several people have spoken to different counselors up there. And hopefully we can come to some reasonable compromise, maybe something a little bit better than the last agreement or the original agreement that was negotiated. I know it's difficult because of politics, my family owns property in Westfield, so I saw the increase in the sewer. So I understand they're gonna try to protect their citizens first. But hopefully we can all remember that it's a region and what's good for the region, and the fact that we have all these other agreements with Westfield to work together to save money, that maybe we can come to some sort of compromise that's beneficial to the city of Westfield and the town of Southwood.
When do you expect those discussions to start for the rest of the, I know it's-
I've already had informal discussions on a regular basis with several of the councils, but,
Well, we need to hear back from Ben on that too.
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Randy, thank you.
I'm gonna go unless there's anything else.
I think we covered everything of Randy's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Randy.
Thank you all.
All right, next thing is I need a motion to accept a grant of a $170 grant by the Sarah Gillette Services for the Elderly, Inc. to the Southwood Public Library.
So moved.
I will second.
Roll call vote, Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Perron, aye.
Okay, next thing I have is a, to approve Nick Chambers, Southwood Fire Department, EMT, B, and firefighter.
Call force.
Call force.
So moved.
Second,
I will second.
roll call vote, Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Okay.
Jason Perron, aye.
Okay. How long has Nick been active? Quite a few years now, right? Couple of years?
No, he's,
Wasn't he?
at one time he was gonna, but he had to deal with some other issues.
Okay, that's what
He's a
it's
lifelong
It's a
resident.
return. Yeah,
He's a
it's
lifelong
return.
resident.
Yep.
so, Good soccer player. All right. Next thing is to approve invoice number 12 for fiscal 20 Southwood Community Assistant Program, that's CBG. Monies for North Lake Avenue Engineering and Design Project, Housing Rehabilitation Program, our Community Food Pantry, in the amount of $7,670.44.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor, roll call vote, Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Perron, aye.
Okay, we're moving to new business.
Sewer abatement.
We already did the sewer abatements.
You
The,
did
We did not.
in the book?
No, the book.
oh, whoa,
We set the rate, but
we
we
set
didn't do
the
the
rate.
abatement.
Okay,
That's the book in front of you. the rate.
okay, I am apologizing. I'm reading my old agenda, not the new agenda. Okay, this is
And where he
for
left.
a sewer abatement in the amount of $92.50 for 109 Congamon Travel Town LLC. Need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Need a second.
I will second.
Okay, roll call vote. Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Perron, aye.
Now we can go to new business. After Jason signs this. Let you get that done.
We did now we did the rates.
Now we
did
do
the red section. So,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I sent back an email to Carl and others regarding that job description. One of the things that we had gone through the budget process was for boards and commissions that don't have a part-time secretary or enough secretarial support to be able to support the hybrid meeting format. So I added some items to the job description that those need to be capabilities that the person has in order to perform those functions. So,
Which then amends the current one you have, so you need to adopt the amendment tonight. So we can finalize it with Labor Council and then put the position out for recruitment.
Okay, just for clarification, so everybody's on the same page. This was agreed to by the voters at the annual town meeting to fund part-time secretarial positions to all boards and commissions that did not have them.
This is 4 boards.
4 boards. So Mr. Moglen has added additional language, which all this is approved by Labor Council, and then we can put it out there and see if we can find some people willing to fill these positions, or a person to fill a position.
Well, it's gonna help the full boards, it's gonna
Right.
give them support, it's gonna help with their
Right.
their meetings, the hybrid issues, their minutes, all the types of issues that we've had feedback where room for improvement has been greatly noted.
Okay, Mr. Mogul, form of a motion?
So moved.
I will second.
Okay, roll call vote, Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul.
Jason Peron, aye.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it, Mr. It's, okay. Let's take care of this chair mail. This is just an FYI from Chief Russ Anderson. Please consider this invite with more to follow. Retirement party for retiring member Paul Johnson, David Humphreys, and Matt Goff at a steak roast July 16th at the American Legion. It's probably a Saturday night.
It is a Saturday.
Okay. Okay. Chairman. All right. Then we've already covered Doug and what he did with the secretarial. We had a request for a donation from the Southwood Rotary Club for their summer concert series. This is the free concerts that are put on Wednesday nights at Wally Park, open to the public in July and August. And I think normally we donated $100 from our gift account. And I thought we had already done this, but if not,
We have to invoke the rule of necessity.
thank you. Because technically we
That's
are
right there.
members of the
That's right,
Rotary.
yes, corporate members.
Corporate members. Okay, so we're invoking the rule of necessity because select board technically are corporate members of Rotary. And with that, I need a motion.
For $100 to
And
support
I
the
will second.
Rotary.
Okay. And roll call vote, Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Peron, aye.
And could we ask accounting to issue the check as soon as possible? Thank you. All right,
Don't
also,
mail
yeah, I also wanted to announce that from Michelle Hill, that unfortunately, Jessica Boldiga, who was elected to Board of Health to help us out, her position has changed at her place of employment, and she is on the road. I spoke with her family, and I mean, it's every week she's in Chicago or someplace in this great country of ours. So she is resigned or sent a letter to Michelle Hill that she is unfortunately unable to fill that position. So I'd like to immediately post a position. I know that I spoke with the chairperson, Mrs. Broska, who said that she's could begin looking for someone else. And I said we would do our best to try to find somebody. And person doesn't necessarily have to have a background in health. You know, they're setting policy. We have a full-time director of the Board of Health. So it's really someone concerned with the town of Southwood would be a fine candidate. So if we could post that. And I think that took care of that chair mail. New business, Mr. Steinhardt.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we received from the health director today, as well as Mr. Fitzgerald, the need to renew the paperwork for the shared nurse grant. As you know, Southwick is the lead community of half a dozen communities.
Yep.
And so we have to renew it, and they're also worked out the details where they're putting it out for advertisement. The obligation for the grant is $369,177. And that represents what's going to be 189 for the current year. And then next year, 179,630. So the chairperson of the Board of Health and the health director are requesting that the select would authorize the chairman of the board of selectmen to sign the renewal on that shared nurse grant program.
I need a motion.
So moved.
Need a second?
So I'm not familiar with this.
Okay. Board of Health, our former Board of Health director, worked with other communities for a shared health nurse.
Like a community nurse, one and a half community
Right.
nurses that go in the field and service 5 or 6 towns.
Right. So they got this grant, a substantial grant. And it's a tremendous benefit to the town of Southwood. You know, you gotta remember, we were dealing with COVID and we're still dealing with the residual of COVID. And there could be different things. But by having this grant, it saves the town of Southwood a lot of money and provides a very necessary service.
Okay. As I said, I've read it, but obviously
Yeah.
being new, not exactly sure what everything means, so I just wanted to clarify.
That's what it's about. So it was a grant.
I would spend some time and get a chance with Alex White too.
Okay, so again, we got a motion made. I need a second.
I will say.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a renewal.
Right. So. Oh, I'm sorry, roll call vote. Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Perron, aye.
Thank you, Mr. Mogul.
Still wearing out the clerk hat, I guess. but
It
takes time.
Signature here, but nothing, so I'm assuming it's
It'll
not,
just be the chair.
it's not, I'm only signing where the tabs are.
Yep.
If I miss something, I'll sign it tomorrow.
That's right. No, the accountant signs the other one.
Okay, then I'm gonna ask Mr. Crone to pass that down. All right, any other new business, Mr. Steinhardt?
Yes, I've been going back and forth. There's been changes in the election laws that were signed by the governor last week, and they relate to early voting.
Correct.
So a lot of those are going to be made permanent. So at some point, we're going to need to meet with the town clerk's election staff and the finance committee to determine what those costs may look like for fiscal year 23. I've had communications with both Senator Vilas's office and Representative Boldiga, and they are looking into the funding that could be possibly transferred to our community, just like all the other communities that are going to be incurring this cost.
Considering it's an unfunded mandate.
That's true. It is an unfunded mandate.
If they don't do that, I guess we'll be sending a letter to the auditor.
Mrs. Bump.
Right, asking that they enforce the unfunded mandate.
Through the
so that it
Division of
doesn't
Local
become-
Mandates.
Right.
Under the state audit.
Right. All right, so that's FYI.
So so at some point you'll see a future agenda meeting, and we'll probably have those two entities come into a board meeting.
Okay. Other new business, Mr. Steinhardt,
No, sir.
Mr. Mogul.
One's an aside, have you reviewed the document and presentation that Suzanne Bump did about the road formula and road funding that Western Mass takes a massive screwing on every year?
Oh, that was a while ago.
Well, it just was recent, in the last several months, but it's fascinating to watch. I joined the video conference for it. It's fascinating how badly we are being handled by those in the eastern part of the state as far as chapter 90 and so on and so forth, by road mile and all that.
That's because chapter 90's got it's got a blended formula of other things besides straight road miles, whereas that RAP grant you just signed, the winter road one, that was more so based on a formula of road miles.
Correct.
That's another reason why I asked Robin to put the copy of the article that was in the Republican paper for everybody to read concerning the inflation taking.
Exactly, we just saw it tonight, right?
Right. I mean, they even mentioned, this is national, but they even mentioned Huntington, Massachusetts, taking it on the chin because of the inflation costs have pushed the cost of doing roads beyond a possibility for many smaller communities, It's just, I don't know what to do, you know, like we went out on the roads, we knew every single road we went on needed work. And we spent close to $2 million and I'm sure we're gonna be hearing a lot of complaints, but it's not getting any better, it's getting worse. Okay, Mr. Prone, any new business?
None for me at this time.
Mr.
Okay.
Fox, did you want to take any action under new business of the,
Yes,
of the public comment that was
yes,
presented earlier?
yes, I do have it listed here.
Well, then I'll leave it to you.
No, I heard what former Chief Bishop, who's a member of the Southwood Civic Fund, said tonight, and they're looking for a letter of support. You know, they do so much good in this community, you know, and it's a little heartbreaking that the fact that not enough people step forward to help out, so that we're probably not going to be able to afford fireworks this year. But they are working on so many other projects in saving the food bank. I think is a tremendous thing in utilizing and protecting the historical buildings of the former Methodist Church. I give them a lot of credit. You know, they got a lot of irons in the fire, and I understand that those two things would take priority over fireworks, and I'm sure a lot of the people in the community will agree. So I have absolutely no problem of drafting a letter of all the good they have done in our community in supporting them, and hopefully it helps them achieve their goal of helping the Southwood Food Bank, and which benefits Granville and Tallinn also, and to preserving those buildings. So I would accept the motion and ask, since I know that you do a elegant letter along with the CAO, draft the two of you for drafting a letter to be sent.
I'll make the motion even with that I got.
With,
it on
you
my
mean
plate.
with the
Yeah, I'll
yada,
make the
yada,
motion
yada?
anyway. Yes.
Okay,
And I will second it because I don't have to do it.
there you go. You're learning fast, Mr. Perot. Okay, roll call vote, Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Perone, aye.
Okay,
I'm sure Mr. Mogul will find something for me to do.
there you go. There you go. All right. No further new business. We're going into old business. Number one, it's no longer North Pond violations waiting for Fish and Game Agreement development. We might as well just change that to North Pond Conservation Area, serious problems. I mean, I don't know what to say. We saw the pictures from Chief Landis, from private citizens.
The state's already taking action, like Fishback Falls and several others, they're closing them right down.
Right, I mean, I was down there last fall with Fish and Game, who holds, you know, they're the ones that gave us over $1 million. So they basically set the rules. We were in non-compliance. Conservation Commission are the trustees. They were supposed to bring us into compliance. We're not quite there yet, but all this other stuff is going on now, which is going to make it near impossible to come into compliance. There is not supposed to be a beach there. That's the first thing. All that land down there is supposed to grow back to its natural state. And, you know, that's not happening if you have all these people down there.
Turning off their boats.
Right, and having fires and cooking and there's no bathroom facilities. We can't put a bathroom facility down there by agreement with the Fish and Games. It's supposed to all stay in its natural state. So we have a serious problem. I went to the last Conservation Commission meeting where they discussed it. They're talking about putting up signs. They're talking about volunteers, and we had some volunteers. You and I were at the Citizens Restoring Congamon, where they said they would try to supply some volunteers to help pick up some of the trash. Right.
Yeah.
Police department has stepped up patrols, but I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. It was, according to one email I got today, from
Is
one
there
of
any
the-
way they can restrict the access to that for the boats?
Well,
Some buoys and some barricades?
I hate
Mines
to,
are out of the question.
I hate to say this because I got
Kidding.
yelled at an open meeting because I mentioned it. But when I was out there with conservation, Fish and Game, Mass DEP, and the police department, Mass DEP and Fish and Game said in some locations where it got so bad, they told the people they would have to erect a fence to keep people from accessing the shoreline. And we got tortured when that was even meant. I didn't come up with the idea. Mass DEP and Fish and Game came up with that and said that could be.
I was thinking more along the lines of like they have at Hampton Ponds, the border off the swimming area.
Right.
Buoys, you know,
Right.
the ropes and stuff, something that would, if the boats go in there, they wrap the thing around their propellers and their stuff.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, like management is got issues with this, conservation, you know, God bless them. And I don't mean to criticize them all the time, but because they're volunteers, they're part-time, but they're the trustees. You know, and they're the ones working with in Fish and Game. And I know Chief Landis has stepped up patrols down there.
Just had a bunch of the sheriffs that graduated from the Bridge Academy that'll be able to, they will actually be able, as I think you heard at the meeting.
Yeah.
Actually able to enforce the laws, not just.
Right, they'll be able to issue tickets on the water. But I think that, you know, we have to go back. And we mentioned this in Lieutenant Banish was looking into this, an MOU with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Fish and Game, so that our officers can follow state regulations, you know, and cite people for violations, fires, trash, et cetera, you know. And another thing that came out of conservation, and they were asking questions, and maybe I think they need some help. I think we're gonna have to help them get the answers. They're asking things about, can we close it down at dusk? Can we make it illegal? So I know Fish and Game says people can hunt
Yeah, with
and fish.
DCR or Fish and Wildlife, you know, I know in my experience in my other position that town parks are closed at a certain
Right.
time.
But the only
Like that, I
thing,
know, we don't.
right, it's
control.
Fish and Game, and it sets the regulations. So I guess what I'm gonna suggest to this board is that we open up a dialogue with conservation and LMC and
Yeah, but very good connection.
planning board and police,
too, so.
and see if we can't have a session, maybe bring in Fish and Game and Mass DEP again, and sit down and see what can we do? Because people are telling me that one reason they say, well, we're getting all these extra people is Otis is closed down. I didn't realize.
Yeah,
that.
they have limited access to Otis at certain
Okay.
points. They shut down one of the ramps. They did shut it down.
How about Hampton Pounds and West?
No, we're still going. But we've, our sergeant that just took over the unit is working with Hampden County and environmental, and we're gonna have, Hampden County hasn't been on our Hampden Ponds, but they will be now. We're looking to do something pretty much, they want to do something 7 days a week now, so. But we're still open with what Hampton Ponds does is, first thing in the morning, the boat ramp is open, so at a certain point, they limit access through the gate, so you have to pay to get in, and you have to follow the roads and the rules, and, you know, you can't just dump and go.
So to speak. All right, so that's my suggestion, that we get together with all the parties involved. Give conservation all the assistance possible, because I think they're gonna need it. They're gonna need it. Because it's a health issue, it's a dangerous issue, somebody's gonna get hurt. Are you gonna have a fire down there? I mean, we didn't.
The possibility of the E. coli and all of this stuff, you could look at, trying to shut down if it's the rate that level is high enough. And they're, when they're doing what they're doing in the water, they're doing it in the water. That can be very problematic.
Well, there's another group we can get involved, Board of Health. Get everybody in a room and I'm gonna suggest, Carl, you wanna begin the process of a daytime get together?
Sure.
We can bring out one representative from each in. The board mind if I continue, since I've already been working with Fish and Game and I'll be the representative?
Okay.
Okay.
I can send a few people your way from environmental
All
as
right.
well.
Well, I think we had a good group from Fish and Game and Mass DEP the last time, Police Department, but I think if we get Board of Health, Conservation, Lake Management, and put our heads together, see exactly what we can do. But I certainly think we need to seriously consider that MOU so that our officers have that same statutory authority as the state to enforce the state regulations.
I guess we can also implore town residents that enjoy using the lake, have fun, have a great time, but also, there's people coming now from out of town, from out of state.
That's usually the
Right,
biggest problem.
I get it, but people from town need to step up. They all stepped up to pay for this thing. It's their investment. It's their natural resource. Step up, tell somebody that's not doing the right thing, hey, do the right thing, for Christ's sakes. And we, maybe that'll help a little bit. I saw today, I saw the Girl Scouts were out there picking up trash out there. And it seems like it's every weekend we could go out there and pick up tons of it. But if you're out there, and you see somebody doing something they shouldn't, tell them.
Right. But I think you're absolutely right. And I think the biggest thing is, let's admit we got a problem.
Oh, yeah, we definitely have a
Let's
problem.
stop putting the blinders on and saying, no, we don't have a problem. We got a problem.
When I
Correct.
had the opportunity to go out on the lake with the CRC folks, I had never seen that situation on the north side of the boat thing. The issue with all the people just kind of tying everything together and trashing.
Yep.
I knew about the trash on the shore and the fire and stuff, but I was not aware of.
Yeah. So let's put our heads together. And let's do something. We got a serious financial investment over there. It's supposed to be in its natural state, and we got to get it under control. All right, next thing, town hall HVAC. David left. Okay. Yeah, we're still working on that. Almost complete. We talked about the sewer system IMA. We'll be getting that process. Board and committee procedures. I think Doug, you've done an excellent job on that. I think that
We're done. Now we just got to get people to sign up.
Get people to sign up. We're doing the process in compliance with the Attorney General. So that's all that matters on that. Deputy Fire Chief recruitment process. I spoke with the Fire Chief. He wants to do an assessment. He feels that he only has 2 legitimate candidates from within our own department. The candidates from outside our department, he doesn't feel comfortable and doesn't want to waste town money. So I told him that absolutely, if you feel more comfortable doing the assessment, go ahead and let's get it done. Citizens awareness of board and committee openings. You just said it. We're trying to get the word out there.
Yeah.
As far as I know, we're having some success.
Yep.
Some people are at least talking or asking.
I met some
questions.
folks at the short-term rental subcommittee that came out to talk about that. I invited them to take a look at that list on the website and find a winner that they'd be interested in. Now you have Board of Health that just opened up the position tonight as well, so that would be one to to consider.
And we had that resignation, of Mr. Hamburg from the historical.
Yep.
So they definitely need somebody on there. Board of Health definitely needs somebody on there. I mean, these are something we need to act on. We need people to put their names forward. Old business, Mr. Steinhardt, I forgot to ask you.
Let's see, well, we're, the Westfield Regional Dispatch efforts, the latest grant application was awarded by the Commonwealth. So there's going to be, obviously, it's positive. We're going to the next step. And they're hopeful that sometime during the winter, that if things go well with the securing of the equipment and the installing, that we could start the transition process then. So that's going to be good.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't I see an email this afternoon that due to COVID that we have temporarily switched over to our 911?
Well, that's just a workaround.
Just a workaround. It's just a
On an
temporary thing.
absence on a staffing level right now.
Okay.
some shifts.
Okay, because I
Yeah.
did hear a strange voice on the scanner and just wanted to make sure I understood that.
Yeah.
Strangely familiar.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
Right.
All right.
So that was the first one, and then the other one is, we have, did receive the information on the second allotment, or what's called tranche of ARPA funds, so that's those documents and request information has been submitted last week to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, which acts as the distribution conduit for communities such as ours that are small communities. So that should be coming through the allotment within the next, week, 10 days.
Well, that's excellent.
Because that's consistent with your wanting to make a distribution from that fund source to complement what you did on the road paving program.
Correct.
So once that's done, then once that happens, we'll be able to do that from that fund source.
Right.
Are we going to have further discussion on that as an agenda item? For
Absolutely.
the allocation of that money?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just sort of in the holding pattern for fiscal year 20.
Well, once we have it in hand, then we can talk about what we're going to do with it. And there's a lot of, right.
I was negligent when Randy was right here. I haven't been up to Mort Vining. Did they start Mort Vining today?
No, they called it off
Wednesday.
last night.
They called it off last night?
Well, I think they weren't going to start for some of them.
They called the detail off late last
Yeah.
night because of the weather, so I think they're going to push it that.
Yeah, maybe
Like,
Hill-
they'll start tomorrow,
They were,
and then-
they were afraid they were gonna get torrential
Monday was
downpour.
supposed to be Mort Vining, Monday, Tuesday Mort Vining, Wednesday, Thursday Hillside. I think they shifted it all one day.
Okay,
Don't quote me, but I heard him call off the detail last night.
all right. Well, that'll be good if we can get those two done. And as soon as we get Mort Vining done, I've already gotten phone calls from people. They want the police up there because of speeders,
Oh, really?
right, so.
Well, they're up there all the time anyway on Vining Hill, so they don't have to go around the corner.
Right. They've been doing very good on our section of Southwood lately. But if you could pass that memo on to Chief Landis, several people already requesting, as soon as it's paid, that they're concerned the speeding is gonna get worse now that it's not quite as bumpy. So if they could make a presence up there.
I don't think that'd be an issue, and I do make note that Lieutenant Banish is on the on our meeting right now and is listening in. So I'm
Excellent.
sure he can-
Excellent.
And I didn't see it, but I see it now that Deb Barath also posted in the chat about many residents do speak up to the voters on North Pond, and I'm sure they do. But it's not up to the individuals to confront anyone. I'm not looking for anyone to incite
No.
violence or put themselves in
No.
danger. I'm just saying, I've seen it where whatever the rules are that, people kind of let
I can say
outsiders
it's a-
know the rules.
It's a different world with dealing with people that way nowadays.
No, I get it. I get it.
Mr. Vice Chair, I actually see her with a handle. I don't know how you handle that at this point in the answer.
No, we're not going there. If you started for one, we gotta do it for everybody. We're not doing that.
So that was my
That's
last
public
thing under
comments.
old business.
Okay. Mr. Mogul. Old business.
No, I think we're good.
Mr. Perone.
Still working on that previous tax thing,
Okay.
so.
all right.
Other than that, when I get some answers, I'll let you know.
You got it. And you were referring to the TIF request from Wally Computer
Services, stuff
Associates.
like that. yes.
Okay. And they were granted their appeals from the Board of Appeals. And Mr. Steinhardt and I are working with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and Wally Computer Associates to see if we can't be competitive with other communities. And again, all that would have to come back to a town meeting where the voters would have to decide yes or no. It is not something that this board can do on its own.
Right, and it has to be in a format that's acceptable to the state agency that approves these types of arrangements.
Correct, correct,
Known as the Economic Assistance Coordinating Council.
correct. All right, I don't believe there's any need for an executive
No,
session
you took
tonight.
care of that MOA earlier, so we're good. That issue was done going forward.
Okay, then I'm going to wish everybody a very safe 4th of July.
I'll be working.
You'll be working, well, you better get some sleep, I think. Because you can't keep this going morning, noon, and night. You gotta get some sleep. But everybody have a safe 4th of July. It's a great country. Celebrate, but celebrate nicely. Oh, boat parade is Saturday unless the weather is bad, then it'll move to Sunday. So that's a good thing for people to watch.
Hopefully that's what Deb was gonna say. But
Right.
yes,
But take advantage of it, but have a great 4th of July. With that, I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
gladly.
Secondly,
Roll call vote, Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Peron, aye.
Good night.